Mark. Welcome everyone. So this is really exciting. These 6 sessions again. Try and come as much as you can each week if you can make it, because each week I'm going to just try and bring a new angle, because that's one of the best things we have when it comes to Jewish meditation. There are different angles we can approach meditation. Before we get there, we have to sort of almost define terms a little bit and understand what is meditation. What is meditation? And with that, I just want to just smash 2 misconceptions, which I get the whole time. So misconception number 1 is due to, I think, some of the way it's portrayed oftentimes in the media, is that people think in order to do meditation, you have to be sitting perched on a beach, on a stone somewhere, incredibly fit and strong and very beautiful, and be able to sit like this. And if you can do that, you can meditate. And if not, all the understanding is you have to be some sort of sandal wearing hippie, or you have to be someone who's just, very. I get a lot of the time people come to say to me, it's not for me, I can't do it, I've never done it before, I won't do it, I'll never do it. I find most of the time people who say to me, I'm never going to try meditation, are often the people who need it the most, I would say, who are very scared of what it might do, because it's portrayed as being something quite mystical or quite spooky. What is going to happen? You're going to lose your mind in it, or maybe people just don't like the idea of letting go a little bit, letting go of having such control over what's going on in their mind. Letting go is very scary for some people, and so there is that misconception that it's for some people and it's not for others. I really do believe meditation is something we can all access on different levels, but that's the first misconception. The second misconception that I think it's worthwhile for us to kind of go through together is that meditation is something that we use to, sorry Esther, or actually no, sorry, it's Hannah really more, but the idea of stress, getting rid of stress. In the wider world, in the wider, I think, context, meditation very much is presented as something which is to get rid of stress and anxiety. The whole mindful movement has been sort of cooking along since the mid-1970s, when someone called John Kabat-Zinn proposed that if you could take away some of the Buddhist elements and secularize it, you could turn it into a science almost. You can turn it to something called a science called mindfulness, which has now been actually proven through scientific research to actually be very helpful. Mindfulness-based stress reduction. There is a whole science out there to show you how you can use mindfulness to live a stress-free life. That may be true from a secular perspective, but Jewish meditation is going to be very different, and I'm going to explain why. Because Jewish meditation isn't necessarily just about getting rid of stress. It's going to have the side effect of relaxing you, making you feel more connected, making you feel more calm. 100%. That's not the end goal. And maybe it's worthwhile just for a second just to mention that really this goes back to some of the previous classes we've touched on here. This past session, the reframes, and also what we did last summer. It really touches on what it means to live a Jewish life, what it means to the Jewish life. For us, I think I showed you once the idea of the Magen David. The Magen David it's not just happenstance that the Magen David is the sign of the Jewish people. There's a triangle pointing up and there's a triangle pointing down. And the idea is that the pinnacle for a Jew isn't to leave this world. The pinnacle for a Jew isn't to transcend out of this space and leave this world behind. That's not what we're meant to be doing. There's a famous Rebbe that once said, God's got enough angels. He's got enough angels up there. That's not the role of a Jew. The role of a Jew isn't to transcend out of this world. And therefore, the purpose of meditation, actually, as opposed to maybe TM or other things, isn't to transcend you out of this space, but rather to allow you to live an enriched life in this world, within this space. To live a life where you can see the hand of the Almighty in this world, where you can feel more calm, connected, and spiritually charged within this world. That's what really the main purpose of Jewish meditation is. As you can see, it's very different. Instead of just being like a stress reduction program, it is a stress reduction program. When you live a life where, as we say in the Psalms, King David says, even if I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, I have no fear, because I feel that Hashem is with me. When I can have that life where I feel that Hashem's by my side, then I'm going to have less stress. I'm going to have less panic. I'm going to be able to go through the world and all that's happening with concern, with compassion, not with always, but I'm going to have that deep faith. But meditation helps me get to that place of deep faith because I'm pulling away the curtains, I'm pulling down the barriers through these techniques. So that's like another very important thing to mention is before we kind of get going in today's class, that Jewish meditation, one of the things we're going to talk about today, yes, it's going to be great for our blood pressure, it's going to be great for our skin tension, it's going to be great for all-round health, definitely. I can tell you that for sure from my experiences as well. It will help you live more mindfully, it will help your relationships, for sure. But the Jewish meditation aspect means that we're going to, instead of leaving this world, it's teaching us how to be more involved in this world with more purpose, with more focus, with more connection, with more love, with more bonds of connection between each other. And that's what's really special and wonderful about Jewish meditation. It's about learning how to choose. And we'll come back to that in later classes. It's not for tonight, that's for the future class. I think 2 down the line, we'll talk about that. It's about choosing. But we go through so much of our life is really about autopilot. And I don't know how many people have studied psychology. There are probably a few of you got PhDs in psychology in the room, right? Anyone here with a PhD in psychology? No, in my luck, there'll be someone with a doctorate in psychology. But there isn't. Okay, so I can just say anything and you have to fact check me later. But I think they say is that once you hit the age of 35 or something, 90% of what you do is just learn habits. You do things because that's what you've been doing your whole life till now. You wake up in the morning and a certain brain, cycle kicks in. You start thinking the thoughts you think, and you just get on with life. And life just really remains the same. Once you hit a certain point in time, you're kind of stuck into a certain way of thinking, way of framing the world, seeing the world. Occasionally, something comes and shunts you, and you have to wake up and see what's going on. But we're not necessarily always choosing how we react to situations. We're not always choosing how we want to behave. That's what part of meditation is also about. It's about taking a step back and learning how to calm the body, calm the mind, and be able to make decisions. So this is like part of what we're doing, the exciting parts of the meditation. We're going to start today's class, which is called Let Go and Know. That's today's class. So I'm going to pass on the source sheets, as we know. My only request, as always, is just if you can not to read through the whole thing. And then I might need. I've got one or two here. Yeah, just don't do the usual thing and just read through the whole thing and get to the end and be like, read it. Because that's always a bit nice. There's a few more here to go around. And yeah, please feel free to ask questions as we go. What we'll do is, the aim is that we'll hit normally by 10 past. We'll start the meditation, which will only be about 15-minute meditation, and then we'll leave from at the end with some questions and comments. Any comments or questions till now? So each week, my aim is each week we're going to touch on something different. Today, Let Go and Know is going to be about hashkata, which is on the last page. You'll see I've written down after source G the word hashkata. That is today's technique. Next week we're going to learn a different one. But let's jump in. Okay, let's go. Let's start, as they say, from the beginning. There's a quote I put here from the Kotzker Rebbe. The Kotzker Rebbe is a very famous Rebbe who lived in Poland in the late 1800s. He's very well known mostly for the fact that he didn't leave any writings behind. He burnt most of what he wrote. There's a few things that we have left from the Kotzker Rebbe. He was known, Joshua Heschel wrote a book about him called A Passion for Truth. And you know that above and beyond anything else was his search and his vehement search for truth. And it was such a fiery character that people used to run out of the way when he came into the room. He'd enter the room and people would literally jump out the window because they were so scared to see him. But he had this real amazing ability to just see through the world and come to a place of truth. A number of statements that are quite famous are attributed to him. This one is one of the most famous, which is, where is God? The answer is wherever you let him in. Wherever you let God in, that's where God is. You often get asked, I get asked all the time as Rabbi, Rabbi, where is God? Where is God? It's a very deep point that we could meditate on for years. Where is God? It's wherever you let God in. So why don't we let God in? What is causing us not to be able to relate spiritually? What is it that allows us to sometimes go through entire life without ever touching the pulse of what meaning is, or being able to open up and have a space to see the Creator in our lives. What's stopping us? So this week's Parsha, it always makes me happy when I can relate it to the Parsha, and Baruch Hashem, it's this week's Parsha. Boom. The end of this week's Parsha, we just start now the book of Shmot. Yeah, Shmot is the beginning of servitude, the Jewish people in Egypt. And it's only a few verses. We go from the beginning of the book where it's naming the names, like 6-7 verses later we're slaves. That's how fast that happens. We're slaves already in Egypt to Pharaoh. And as we all know, I don't think we have to go through the whole Seder story now. It's already like, I don't want to stress people out talking about Seder night already, but okay. But we know the Seder story, that the Jews are slaves in Egypt, and Moses in this week's Parsha gets sent out to take them out. And he approaches Pharaoh, and the famous "Let my people go," and Pharaoh's answer is, "Forget it." And interestingly enough, we see that Pharaoh's response to Moshe's request to let the people go is to make them work harder, right? If you don't remember what he tells them, anyone just I'm interested, remember what's the ruling? He says, the decree, when he asks, let the people go, and Pharaoh says, no, I'll make them work harder. What do they have to do now? They have to gather the straw themselves for the bricks. And before they used to get dumped a load of straw, but now they have to gather their own straw. So when we were kids, when we grew up, went to Cheder, wherever we went to, we learned that this is Pharaoh is an evil man, and he wants to make their lives hard. He wants to give them back-breaking labor. So take a look at source B, and Shmot, go.
So, on that day, Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, "You shall not continue to give stubble to the people to make the bricks like yesterday and the day before yesterday. Let them go and gather stubble for themselves. But the number of bricks they have been making yesterday and the day before yesterday, you shall impose upon them. You shall not reduce it, for they are lax. Therefore they cry out, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Let the labour fall heavy upon the men, and let them work at it, and let them not talk about false matters."
Now, I'll ask you to refer to a previous class, which is online, and I talked about Egypt and the whole idea of what Egypt represents, the idea of the exile of Egypt. Mitzrayim, tsar means narrow. It's not just a place; it's a mindset. Egypt is the idea of being in a place of narrowness, of constriction, unable to think, unable to speak. Literally, Moses, who's our leader, this week's Parsha, we see in this week that he can't talk, he can't speak to Pharaoh, which is representative of when we're in a place of exile, we can't even express ourselves. In this place of Egypt, in this moment of exile, we see that Pharaoh is saying, we'll make their work harder. We thought when we were kids, the reason why was because he wanted to punish them. Let me read you now what in source C, the Mesilat Yesharim. This is Rabbi Moshe Chaim Lutzato, famous Italian rabbi from the 18th century. This is what he says. In reality, this is one of the clever devices of the evil inclination, to mount pressure unrelentingly against the hearts of men, so as to leave them no leisure to consider and observe the type of life that they are leading. Does this sound a little bit familiar? That one of the best ways that the evil inclination, whatever you want to, the anti-self, whatever word you want to give it, one of the best tools it has is just to give you no time to think, to consider about what's going on in life. Because you're just so busy, your alarm goes off in the morning, you get out of bed or you don't get out of bed and hit snooze, whatever you decide. I'm not judging, right? And then when you finally get out of bed and you got to go here and you got to go there and you got to pick up this and you got to pick up that, and these devices that were invented to make our lives easier somehow grabbed us by the whatever, and we're just like constantly on our phones and constantly distracted, and there's this news report and this has to go there and I'm going there. And before you know it, you're back in bed at night and you've had absolutely no time to even think. No time to even think about what's going on. You're just so busy. The Ramchal says that one of the best tools of the evil inclination is to keep you just really, really busy, because if you're busy, then you'll never think about purpose and meaning and life and the Creator and Hashem. You'll never think about it because you're just constant autopilot, constantly your brain is going round and round. He says, it is this consideration which underlay the counsel of the wicked Pharaoh in his statement, intensify the men's labors. His intention was not merely to deprive them of all leisure so they would not come to oppose him or plot against him. It wasn't like if they're busy, then they won't come to make a rebellion. He strove to strip all their hearts of all thought by means of enduring, interminable nature of their labor. So if I strip you of the ability to think, if I dull your brain, if I just feed you constant, what's it called, doom scrolling, right? If I'm going to get these people just to doom scroll the whole day long, doom scroll, YouTube shorts, Instagram things, then I can just, it's fantastic. What a great life. You're never going to think about anything else because your head's down, just constantly going like this, or constantly busy with work or with news or with whatever it's going to be. That's the best trap we can fall into. Where is God? Wherever we let him in. But most of us can't let God in because we are just so involved in our daily lives. We're so involved and we're so distracted. We haven't got a moment to even think. And that's why I found this beautiful quote here from Tehillim, from the book of Psalms in source D. Harpu, not to be confused with Harpo, Grouch. Is that his name? Harpo? Marx, that was it. So. It sounds a bit like it, doesn't it? Or, yeah, Carl. So harpu, it's an interesting word, harpu, because we don't hear it very often, but it comes from the Hebrew word rifayon. Anyone here any Hebrew speakers in the room? Rifayon, maze rifayon?
I don't know that one.
Rifayon means like a weakness, like to let go of something. When you're rifayon yodai means you can let go. It's normally actually used in a negative sense. That means you're weak in something. You're not chazak. I'm holding this in that way, which is chazak. Rifayon, rafer means it's a weak, to let go. You let go of something.
And is it linked to like rofer, like doctor?
No, that's a different root. This is reish pei hey, whereas rafer will be reish pei aleph. But good try. You can come next week. You're back. You're invited back. I always like the people that ask the grammar questions. Harpu udeu ki anochi Hashem Elokim. Harpu, David HaMelech, King David says, Harpu, let go, udeu, and then you'll know. Ki anochi Elokim, that I exist. But you've got to let go. You've got to let go in order to see. You've got to let go. You've got to be able to be brave enough to just still that voice. And this is where we get to the next source, which is, again, it's this fundamental. I wanted to give you some really good fundamental sources today before we get into meditation. This is a Gemara, which is in the Tractate of Brachot, which relates to an episode in the life of Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet. Okay, this is very relevant also as you get ready. I know a lot of you are getting ready for Rosh Hashanah already, so you can relate to that. And I'd like to thank Rafi Leon for volunteering to read Source E for us. It's very kind of him for volunteering. So Rafi, go for it. This is, again, it's a Gemara in Brachot. Try not to get too involved in every aspect. There's quite a lot of details which we need to know, but don't get dragged down by them. Rafi, take it away.
The Gemara relates, Rav Sheshet was blind. Everyone was going to greet the king, and Rav Sheshet stood up and went along with them. This heretic found him there and said to him, "The intact jugs go to the river. Where do the broken jugs go? Why is a blind person going to see the king?"
Right, so the heretic saw this rabbi who was blind. What are you doing here? You're blind. You can't see anything. You won't know anything. You're useless, basically, is what he's saying to him.
Rav Sheshet said to him, "Come see that I know more than you do." The first troop passed, and when the noise grew louder, this heretic said to him, "The king is coming." Rav Sheshet said to him, "The king is not coming." The second troop passed, and when the noise grew louder, this heretic said to him, "Now the king is coming." Rav Sheshet said to him, "The king is not coming." The third troop passed, and when there was silence, Rav Sheshet said to him, "Certainly now the king is coming." This heretic said to him, "How do you know this?" Rav Sheshet said to him, "Royalty on earth is like royalty in the heavens, as it is written with regard to God's revelation to Elijah the prophet on Mount Torah." Okay,
so we've had this long introduction, just to the point that Rav Sheshet knew that when you want to find Hashem, it's in silence. Because he knew that the king was coming because kingship down in earth reflects kingship on high, and if kingship on high comes with silence, so that the king will arrive and it will be silent. How does he know this? From Elijah the prophet. This is a famous episode in the life of Elijah.
And he said, "Go forth and stand upon the mount before Hashem." And behold, Hashem passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains, and broke in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But Hashem was not in the wind. And after the wind an earthquake, but Hashem was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake a fire, but Hashem was not in the fire. And after the fire a still small voice, called and it was so, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entrance of the cave. Hashem's revelation was specifically at the moment of silence.
Okay, this is the Gemara ends it. Hashem's revelation is specifically in the moment of silence, when everything is calm, when the waters are stilled, when everything is somewhat silenced. You can hear this thing called the kol d'mamadaka, the still thin sound. That still thin sound is we're trying to find it in our lives. It's my belief that existentially we're all looking for the still thin sound. We go through our whole lives searching for it, but we can't because of Pharaoh. It's that Pharaoh, right? It's like, business, life, emails, kids, in the car, driving here, where we going next, what's on TV, what's for dinner, what's happening, and if we don't eke out time, we don't try and make the time, we'll never hear the still thin sound. But it's there. But you have to be able to pull away all those distractions, all those sounds, in order to connect through to that still thin voice, which is godliness, which is the elokus. Harpu udeu. Let go just to know. You've got to let go to know. And I think that's, again, going back to what you said before, that a lot of people are scared of meditation because the idea of letting go generally just scares a lot of people. Letting go, it's not for me. I don't want to let go. I want to hold on as much as I can. But letting go to know. Letting go to know. And with this, we will kind of just get ready for today's meditation, because today's meditation is dafka about silence. The small, thin sound comes through silence. And there is a technique of meditation, Jewish meditation, which is called hashkata, okay? And I put you down your homework because you're going to be trying this in the week. I'm going to ask you next week if you've tried it, and if you haven't, you all have to be sent home. No joke. I will ask you if you've done it. It'll be good for you. But I'm going to teach you the technique tonight of hashkata. There was a great Rebbe called the Piazetzner Rebbe, and he was the one who introduced this to us. He lived in the early 1900s. He was actually murdered by the Nazis in 1943. But he introduced this form of meditation called hashkata, from the Hebrew word shaket, or sheket, which is silence. And it's a form of meditation which allows us just to get everything quiet inside. Remember, harpu udeu, you've got to let go, and you've got to get quiet, just to be able to tap in to that still thin sound. Once again, the goal of Jewish meditation, yes, stress reduction, but also it's a way to dial in, so to speak. You're dialing in to spirituality. You're phoning up that line, you're dialing in, you're connecting. And what is it again that stops us? Yes, it's the busyness, the running around, but it's also the idea of the body. It says, I've given this quote here from the Maharal of Prague, Shaguf medaber haneshama shotekes. When the body talks, the soul is silent, because the body is just talking, making so much noise. What does that mean? It's the guf, it's the body, it's the physical feelings, the physical actions, the moving, the going, the running, the jumping, wherever it's going. That's one thing. But also just the limbs, the feeling of the limbs, the body. When it's got volume, the soul is just it's AWOL. So one of the things we have to do with hashkata is we're going to calm the body down. Okay? There's a great quote here from someone called the Chalban, Rav Chaim Cohen Faharia. His interesting story, he was a milkman in a moshav in Israel until they finally realized this guy was a master Kabbalist. And he was secretly writing all his things. He was just a regular milkman in the moshav. He called the Chalban. Absolutely fascinating character for another time. But we're very honored that Sharon has agreed very kindly in her first class here to read Source G. Thank you very much, Sharon. Source G for us, yeah.
Okay. The more that our external abilities, our body, our limbs, our senses, etc., make noise, the more distant a person is from being able to listen to the sound speaking of their soul. And why is it that a person is unable to listen to his soul? The answer is that the body is speaking constantly, and when we talk, we are unable to listen at the same time.
That's right. especially men are unable to talk and listen at the same time. I think maybe women can. There was about like multitasking. Men are apparently very bad at multitasking. Although I do always say, whoever claims that men are not good at multitasking has obviously never been in an Israeli shirut before. When those taxi driver shiruts, you know what I'm saying? Where the guy's taking a change, overtaking 100 miles an hour, having 5 conversations and having an argument with someone all at the same time. So I think that puts to rest the idea of not multitasking. Anyway, attempt at a joke, had a few smiles. It's good. Future. Okay, no, but when you're you can't talk and listen at the same time. So what hashkata is about just calming down the body, getting to that place of quiet, harapu udeu, letting go, and then seeing what's there afterwards. Okay, and that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to start the meditation. And it's very simple. In a minute, we're going to just we'll take the lights down. For those who want a good sleep, now's your chance. But it's going to be like a 50-minute meditation. We're going to focus on breath. Next week is the breath class. We're going to go much more into detail on breathing next week. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you also to have no distractions. Make sure you're comfortable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sit in this space, and I'm going to guide you through a hashkata meditation, asking you just to kind of calm the body down. And then we're going to ask you the following questions. We're going to ask you, what are you feeling physically? Okay, you're becoming aware of your physical feelings. That means in your body. Is your body feeling tired? Is your body feeling good? Or whatever, like you're going to be aware of how your body is feeling. Then I'm going to ask you to become aware of your emotional state without judgment, just to become aware of it. And then the Rebbe taught us that the last one is to ask you what you're thinking, just to become aware of your thoughts. And it says the Rebbe, in this way, this technique of going through these 3 layers, you will find that the body starts to just be quiet, starts to just get really super quiet. And in that space, you start to actually feel that you can tap into the sound, this kol dvama daka. Remember, we're looking for the kol dvama daka. We're listening for that still, thin sound. And we do it by quieting everything down, to be able to find it. Okay? It's there. The sound is there. I always give this story. It's a funny story, but like years ago, I went to see my parents. My parents live in Elstree. I went to visit them, and I did a shtick that I do occasionally. I haven't done it for a while, but I like to have a bit of a laugh. You've got to have a bit of a laugh in life, So like I'll phone them sometimes, and I'll be like, "Hi, how you doing?" And I'll be actually outside their house, but they don't know I'm there. That kind of shtick, right? How you doing? I'm fine. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I did that, and I was outside the house. They didn't know, and I was speaking on the phone, and I wanted to give them a nice surprise. So I was chatting to them, my mum, and I went to the house. I started ringing the doorbell, and Mum didn't hear. So I was like, ring the doorbell, nothing happening. I was like, Mum, I can hear through the phone. Is someone ringing your doorbell? She's like, no, can't hear anything. I was like, you sure? She's like, yeah, I'm ringing the doorbell. No. And so I start knocking on the door. She can't hear anything. I'm knocking. I was like, Mum, I think I can hear someone knocking your door through the phone. She goes, no. Oh, hold on. Yeah. I was like, turn the telly down. And she said, like my dad, you can hear him turn Downton Abbey down. I was like, down. She said, oh, now I can hear it. Now I can hear the sound of, oh, it's you. Okay, wow. She's so excited to see me. Came in, very nice. But I use this as a beautiful metaphor that like, it's like the doorbell's ringing, right? The kol dvama is there, but you've got to turn the TV down. You've got to turn the Downton Abbey down, or whatever choice of TV show you like. It could be anything, but you've got to turn the volume down on the telly to hear the sound of what's there. And that's what hashkata is, okay? So is that cool with everyone? Yes.
Whilst you're talking, 2 lines of poem have come into
Oh,
my
please,
head,
yes, please,
which
yeah.
I haven't thought of for years, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
really bugging me who
No,
wrote it. I think it starts, what is this life, if full of care, we have no time to sit and stir.
Yes, and who is that? It's Wordsworth, isn't it? It's Wordsworth. It's Wordsworth? I'm so proud of myself.
My school days.
Yeah, we're in Wordsworth. Okay, so this cool, everybody? Okay, I'm going to ask you all just to like sit on the backs of your chairs and just let yourself again, there's no, one thing I say before, and there are a few of you who said you've never meditated before, there's at least 2 of you who said that they've never meditated before. So, as I always say, there's no competition. It's not like an Olympics of like who can meditate the best. Because you always see, because I have my eyes open, your eyes are always closed, but I always see the people in the room who are like, I've got to be good at this. I've got to be amazing at meditating. And you're like, oh, just calm down. It's okay. So don't push yourselves to be the best meditator. Just go with it. Whatever happens, go with it. It's okay. I'm going to guide you through it. but you just relax. Okay, that's the most important thing. Rafi's going to kindly hit the lights on the outside, so we're going to go back to our orange light that I requested. Okay, there we go. And let's do this. I'm going to ask you just to make sure there's nothing in your lap or anything like that might fall down. Nothing's going to just annoy you. And don't try to just be too close to. Just space yourselves out so you've got some space as well. Takes me out my pocket as well. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just before we start, just going to ask you to sit in your chair, back straight. I'm just going to ask you just to take a bit of an internal check, a temperature check of how you're feeling. And just notice just your sort of state of mind. Are your thoughts racing? How are you feeling in your thoughts and your emotions? In terms of level of the busyness of your head, business of your mind, if 10 is like ultra busy and 0 is complete peace and nirvana, like where would you give it? What score would you give your current mindset? Again, if 10 is like ultra busy, racing, just thinking about things, is 10, and 0 would be like completely relaxed, completely just in line and connected. Then just give yourself a score now before you start. And so just check in with also how you're feeling within yourself, just to become aware of how you're feeling. And with that in mind, let's just begin this Hashkata meditation. I'm going to ask you to breathe in through your nose, noticing the cooler air as you breathe in. Hold. And as you breathe out through your nose, notice the air is warmer as you breathe out through your nose. So again, breathing in through your nose, noticing the air is cooler as you breathe in. Hold. And as you breathe out through your nose, noticing the air is warmer as you breathe out. Again, breathe in intentionally, breathe in through your nose, filling yourself with oxygen. Hold, and then breathing out through your nose. Letting go of any toxicity, anything that's holding you back, just let it go. This time as you breathe in through your nose, just bring your shoulders up to your ears as you breathe up in through your nose. Bring your shoulders up high. As you breathe out, just let go of any stress, any tension, any strain. Once again, as you breathe in through your nose, just once again bring your shoulders up to your ears, up high. And get ready now as you breathe out, just to let go of any tension, stress, anything which is annoying you or disturbing you, just let go. And you'll feel your body respond in kind, like start to feel your body just feeling calmer. Notice the sensation of your feet against the floor. And notice the sensation of your body being held by the chair that you're sitting on. And just really feeling relaxed, just your whole body starting to let go. Harpu udeu, just letting go. Let your body just go. Starting with your legs. Imagine that both of your legs are almost like they're in a warm bath. Your two legs are in a nice warm bath. Just relaxed and heavy. Just relaxed completely. almost that you're like letting them get almost numb, your legs, just let them get really relaxed. Your legs that carry you through this world, busy taking you here and there. But let your legs just get really, really relaxed. Let go of any tension. Warm bath. Just let your legs get really warm. And now with your right hand and your right arm, just really, really warm and heavy and relaxed. And the same thing now with your left hand and your left arm. Just let it get really relaxed, warm and heavy. Beautiful, your tummy. Let go of any tension in your tummy. All the way up to your chest and to your neck. Let go of any tension, stress. And your back now as well, just letting go, letting your back get really soft. Really soft. So you move up from the lower back to the middle of the back, to the upper back, into the neck especially, so much tension in the neck, just let it go. Until finally now, going to the head, to the right side of the head, the right ear, and the right side of the face. And the left ear and the left side of the face. Just let it get really relaxed. Your mouth and your jaw. Just imagine that it's just able to completely relax and let go. You can even let your mouth drop open a bit if you want, just to let go. Your teeth and your tongue. And your nose and your nostrils. Your eyes, and your eyelids, just again, just letting go completely. The forehead gets really soft. Over to the top of the head. So now your whole head just feels just relaxed. And your whole body now actually responds in kind. It's just letting go. Harpu udeu, just letting go. Letting go. Harpu deu, let go to know. And with this, we can move to the next part of the meditation, which is the hashkata. So my friends, just with me now, okay? This is the hashkata part. We're going to go even deeper. I want you just to become aware of how you are feeling in your physical body right now. How is your body feeling? How are you feeling physically? Just become aware. Is your body feeling tired? Is your body feeling achy? Is your body feeling just good and light? How are you feeling in your physical self right now? Just become aware of how you're feeling in your skin, how you're feeling in your bones, how you're feeling within yourself, in your physical body right now. Just become aware of that. Now we're going to go one level in. And we're going to, on this hashkata journey, we're going to ask ourselves the following question. How am I feeling in my emotional self right now? How am I feeling emotionally? Just become aware. Now, this is really important. I'm going to say this. Please do listen carefully. This isn't about judgment. Any judgment, just let it just dissipate. We're not about judging. We're just about becoming aware. How am I feeling in my emotional self? Becoming aware. Am I feeling happy, centered? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling excited? Am I feeling anxious? Just Just become aware of your emotional self. Again, no judgments, just noticing. How am I feeling emotionally right now? Notice it. Just notice it and be with it and look at it. And be there with it. Not running away, but just being there with our emotional self, allowing it to be in our presence, allowing it to be in our presence. No judgment, just presence with our emotional self. Beautiful. And we'll take it one step further now. And ask you to now just ask the following question, which is, how am I in my thoughts? What am I thinking about? What are my thoughts? Become an observer of your thinking. And this level is not always easy. So imagine yourself sitting on some sort of chair or armchair or couch, and just notice your thoughts as they come in. Notice them. Don't engage in the thoughts. Don't go with the thought. Don't judge the thought, and don't judge yourself for having the thought. But just become aware. Notice your thinking. Notice what you're thinking about. Become aware and notice your thinking. Again, sitting on this chair or this couch, whatever you're on, just notice the thought coming in. Don't run away from it, but just notice the thought. And it might be a few thoughts, or many, or one, or none, but just whatever the thought is, just notice it. Be with it. Give it presence. Non-judgmentally. Be with the thought. Be with the thoughts. Just checking in. Where am I in my thoughts? And as you allow yourself just to be at this moment, you can ask yourself that question. If you are able to notice your thoughts, that means that you are not your thoughts. And if you are not your thoughts, then who or what are you? If I am not my thoughts, if I'm not my emotions because I can see them, and I'm not my physical body because I can see it too, then what or who am I? And in this space, in this place of just shaket, of silence, of quiet, maybe see if you can find your kol dmama daka, that still thin sound. Is there a still thin sound there for you? Noticing maybe something there, a still thin sound. When the body talks, we can't hear it. But now maybe in this state of hashkata, we can notice what this still thin sound might be for us. And if you find something, great. If not, that's also great. Just be there. Just be present. And notice just how you're feeling right now. In this state of hashkata, of shaket, kol dmama daka, still thin sounds. Harpu udeu, just let go to know. Letting go, not just to sit and relax, but letting go to know. Take a big deep breath in through your nose, and just let that feeling wash over you. A feeling of shaket, feeling of quiet and purpose. Noticing how your body feels now. As we come towards the end of this meditation, also just noticing how you're feeling when you went back to the beginning of this meditation, what score you gave yourself in terms of busy mind and stress. Just ask yourself the same question now. How am I feeling in terms of busy mind, in terms of stress levels? Am I feeling better? Am I feeling more grounded? Am I feeling more connected? Am I feeling more present, more able and willing to engage in this world? Not run away from this world, but to engage positively with the richness that this hashkata can bring. Just ask yourself that question. Whenever you're ready, we're going to come to the end of meditation for today, the hashkata meditation. Let's take a big deep breath in through your nose. Then breathe out. One last time. As we leave this meditation, breathe in. Breathe out. Preparing to reopen our eyes with all the cultivating energy that we can bring back into the room with us. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Just gently tap your body. Tap. Just to wake up your body a bit, and just get your hands rub your hands together a little bit. Cover your eyes and breathe in and breathe out. And as you breathe out, just let your hands come down from your eyes, and then come back into the room, hopefully with more presence and hashkata. Welcome back, everyone. How was the journey? So that was just a technique called hashkata. Didn't involve any yogic flying. Didn't involve anything, I think, too dangerous. But it was just a technique. I mean, I did a bit of a body scan at the beginning just to get the body a bit more calm. But you can jump in straight away into the what am I physically feeling, what am I feeling emotionally, what am I thinking. You can do that anytime. Is anyone, like, how was that for people? Just that, how did people find that? Is that helpful? Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone here felt a little bit less stressed out when they checked in? At least one.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone want to share what that experience was like for them? It's always, I feel the sharing is also very helpful. Anyone want to share that, if that was interesting for them?
Yeah, I felt like I'm still here.
In that moment now?
Yeah, like it's almost like a reminder, like I'm here.
I'm here, I'm still existing, yeah.
Yeah, like
Beautiful.
the depth, that's part of me that I would like to stay there more time, more often. Just changed shapes from work to motherhood. Like the soul is still there, and I need to be there more. Otherwise, it's just
Yeah. Again, it's tapping into that,
yeah.
like we said at the beginning of the class, it's not just about getting rid of stress. And I hope everyone does feel less stressed out. Yeah? Does everyone feel less stressed? Okay, fine, thank God. I was sat and fired. Advertising meditation course. But it's not just about that, because that's the point. It's about finding a place within you, which is like maybe you've not seen, well, as you're saying, you know it well, but you haven't seen it for a while. But tapping into a little place inside of you, which is that Kol Doma Daka. It's a silent space, which is you. It's you. It's not a foreign entity. It's not bringing something from the outside in, but it's just letting go of what's all the barriers and noise, and you find yourself in there, inside. Anyone else want to share something? Would be really interesting. You're too zen.
It feels very soothing. You know, hear about babies, how they self-soothe. I found it very soothing for me, in a comforting way.
Beautiful, amazing. Oh, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's that's the hope as well. To soothe, right? That's letting go. It always makes you feel more suitable. But when you're so busy holding on, it hurts sometimes when you're holding on too hard. So here's the story. Feel free over the next week to try it at some point. I've given you a technique. It's recorded. I'll try and get the recording out there as well. And see, again, you don't have to do the whole body scan. You can just sit down somewhere and just get really quiet. Don't have a phone out or anyone disturb you. And it's just, if things are getting too much, work or whatever, you can put yourself on, and it's just breathe a little bit, and then you're like, what am I feeling in my physical body? What am I noticing in my emotions? What am I noticing in my thoughts? And you just give a bit of attention to those three elements, and it starts to just get quiet. What I was once described like, you know, if you have little kids and they're pulling on you for attention, they don't stop until you give attention. When you look at them, they stay quiet, but like until you give them attention, they're pulling on, hello, I want this, I want that, and they're pulling on your leg, and then you just have to stop, and then you look down, and then they look up, and then they stop pulling on your leg because you're giving attention. So much of the physical, emotional, and thoughts are like, actually, if you just stop for a little bit, give it some attention, non-judgmentally, because sometimes the thoughts aren't great, and sometimes we're not feeling wonderful, and sometimes we're not feeling over the moon, and sometimes their thoughts aren't the best thoughts, but at least you're stopping and noticing what's going on. And this is just one technique called hashkata that I wanted to share with you today. And next week, we'll go into breath and the importance of breath and breathing, and how that all relates to Jewish meditation, and how it's all interlinked with spirituality and Torah. And we'll go forward. So I hope that was interesting for people, and that was fun. And yeah, we've pretty much finished sort of on time.
Not sure I can drive home now.
Yeah, well, you can. We have the idea is that Ben's sorting out a chill out lounge. But after this, we're going to have like a DJ and cocktails. So that'll be the next step, Ben. What do you reckon? Chill out lounge.
We've already got the lights.
The lights, yeah.
I'm going to bring in some negatives next week and do some developing as well.
Yeah, but thank you very much for being here today. And if I leave you with one thing, it's just that Jewish meditation, the beauty of Jewish meditation, it's not, yes, it's stress reduction, but it's actually harpu deu. It's about being able to live this life in this world in an upgraded way, in a better way, in a richer way. That's really what it's all about. Better relationships, much more depth than everything we're doing. That's the idea of what we're trying to achieve.